Okay, wow, we suck at trying to sing the intro together over our Wi-Fi lag. But anyways, welcome into Titans Tube. I'm just going to be straight up with you. We're not going to be talking about the Titans here. We're going to be doing a Game of Thrones recap. And I know we're pretty late on this episode 1 of season 8 recap, but who cares? Shut up, don't complain, just watch this and it'll be awesome, and then watch us next week when we break down tomorrow's episode. But yeah, Game of Thrones review where we normally talk Titans. So
is this a good idea?
Happen.
Is it a bad idea? We're kind of changing
There's no
things
way
up,
this could go wrong.
trying to reach a different audience.
We're just trying to be trendy AF, talk about what's hot.
I mean, what the world really needs is like a 200th extra channel that talks about Game of Thrones, because I really don't think there's enough about Game of Thrones on YouTube.
I know this is the first all of y'all are hearing about a Game of Thrones recap via YouTube.
Yeah, true. Well, maybe if this goes well, we can review other shows and stuff. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, look at our sweet mugs. We're all themed out, Titans and Game of Thrones here at Titans Tube.
I got nothing.
Oh, boo. We're not talking football. If you stumbled on this video by Game of Thrones because of a Game of Thrones search keyword, then thank you for watching. We typically talk about the Tennessee Titans, and because we like football, but we also like
we like other things.
Yeah, we like other. We're
we're
well rounded. Yeah, we like literature and the arts and zombies or White Walkers, whatever they are. Okay, guys, let's talk about this first episode. What'd you think?
Woo! Amy, do you want to go first? What was your take?
Yeah. You know what? I think this episode's been getting a lot of heat because people are upset they didn't necessarily learn anything new. I think this was a very necessary episode to start out the new season. I really liked it. Of course, all episode I'm just waiting to see Jon's reaction to him hearing about his heritage. So that was really cool to see. And thanks for making us wait till the very last minute. That was really awesome. Caleb?
Yeah.
First thoughts, initial opening reactions?
It was good. I thought Game of Thrones got back on track to its roots a little bit more than whatever the hell happened in season 7. But yeah, it got me hooked again. It's been cool rewatching some old episodes, all the nice dialogue and the moments between the characters. We got a lot of big reunions between some big characters that we hadn't seen in a long time. So that was cool. And definitely more of a setup episode for the rest of the season. But I thought, compared to just watching the end of season 7 before season 8 aired, it was a much better episode than whatever season 7 finished with. So I'm pumped about that. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, like you said, I think it was a lot of setup. Not a whole lot happened plot-wise, but a lot of necessary things happened. Like you said, there was a lot of reunions that had to happen, so they got pretty much all those out of the way. I don't know what other anticipated reunions we have left. And some big reveals. I didn't know if we were going to get it in this episode, but Jon learning about his heritage, Sam learning the truth, what happened to his family. That was a big time scene. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode to kind of get all the characters in place and to set up what is to come for the rest of the season. So yeah, it's got me excited again. It was a promising setup for what's to come.
Very promising. Yes.
We're all just immediately thrown back into that world, and it's a good place to be.
And they had a lot of callbacks. So I thought there was a lot of good callbacks to season 1.
Yeah.
With the opening scene with the little boy, waiting for the army, Johnny and Dan to come back. That was a callback, to how Arya and Bran were.
Even how they showed everyone entering Winterfell through how Arya viewed them. It showed her see the Hound, and then it showed her see Gendry, just like in that the pilot episode. It was kind of all viewed through Arya's eyes as she was looking out through that helmet. So as she saw Jaime Lannister and Cersei come in, and then later Bran caught them doing it.
Yeah,
and that was the biggest reunion. Bran and Jaime right at the end.
I know that was a great way to end the episode. I mean, two characters that hadn't seen each other since the very first episode of the series, and kind of kicked off all of the events that propelled the series story of that forward. So
yeah, they were the first ever cliffhanger. First cliffhanger in Game of Thrones ever, because it was the pilot. They had to end it on that.
Bran fell off that cliff he was hanging on the castle window. Before we get too far into the episode, I think we need to at least bring up these new opening credit images.
People are talking about that. man, you guys cut out for a minute, and I got scared, but you're back now, so.
We're back.
Yeah, but yeah,
new
opening credits.
Images.
Yeah. No, it was cool. Yeah, it was different and it was unexpected.
It was unexpected.
I mean, it wasn't like necessary. I mean, it's whatever. But I thought it was cool. It was enjoyable to see, the camera go into all the castles and I don't know.
It's like riding a roller
panning
coaster.
and zooming and going throughout all the different locations in a different way.
I thought it was kind of necessary because starting season 8, the whole world has been condensed now to essentially just Westeros. We're done with across the narrow sea. We're done with what's that Essos over there. No longer need. I mean, I guess Melisandre's over there, but I bet we'll see her back in Westeros at some point. So, I mean, the whole show's basically been condensed. Even the whole southern part, south of King's Landing, isn't even relevant anymore. Highgarden, Dorne.
Yeah. What is Dorne doing? Are they gonna use that army? Dorne has an army, and we haven't seen it through the whole show.
I doubt we see Dorne at all. Maybe.
Hot take.
But maybe hot take. But anyway, so I thought it was kind of necessary because it is essentially now just the wall. I guess they threw Last Hearth in there just because it stands in the way of the White Walkers in Winterfell and then King's Landing. So it's kind of cool to see some more detail, and they had to fill that whole intro song with something. So show a little more detail of the actual keeps. That was cool and necessary.
Very true. All right, so the first scene, the arrival, and then they. I don't know, what did you guys think about the Sansa and Dany meeting? And there's a little bit of a clash, a bit of a power struggle-ish. Well, I don't know about a power struggle, but Sansa's definitely, having a hard time accepting Dany's arrival.
Sansa's not about
just
it.
trying to be polite and all that. So I don't know. As a woman, Amy, what do you think about this? How does your species take that?
I mean, I just think Sansa's a
species. Wow. The show got really sexist.
I'm a different species. I'm just. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Goodness. Sansa's a little jaded. Lots of people have just Littlefinger have just not been wanting the best for her, and she's been putting her trust in them, and they fall through a little bit, but there's also some downfall. So I just think Sansa's just very I don't know. I think she just doesn't trust anyone anymore at this point. And so I think that is more the issue with Dany, is especially everything she heard and learned growing up about the Targaryen family as a whole. She's just not interested, I don't think, in trying to get to know Dany. Which from her standpoint is understandable, but from my standpoint and what I know and what I think kind of hurts a little bit. I would love to see them just take this whole thing over and win it all together. But I understand.
Dany and Sansa conquers all.
Now that Jon and Dany are relatives, do you think we could get a Sansa and Dany romantic relationship going? Is that possible?
It's probably where they're going with it.
Jon and Dany?
Because now they can't do it anymore because they're Targaryens now. So that leaves Sansa's a Stark. She's a true Stark. Sansa and Dany.
Targaryens.
Romance.
That's not going to stop
are
them.
all about the incest too.
That's not
true. Yeah.
Jon and Dany.
Yeah.
Targaryens
almost would enhance it in their eyes.
Yeah,
That's
Dany's
true.
going to get even.
Yeah. It's interesting because I don't think the history of the Targaryens, to Sansa, Dany's father brutally killed. Who was it? Brandon and Rickard Stark, her uncle, and Jon, who died before the series started. So they should be very opposed to this crazy Targaryen coming in. So I don't know. I think there's going to be some clash. I think if not between Jon and Dany eventually, then I think there might be a clash, or should be a clash between Sansa and Dany.
Yeah, well,
their ultimate motives.
Back to Sansa, I think she's the smartest person in Westeros right now.
She
Honestly,
is.
it might be the one person I
is.
would like to sit on the throne or win the game. And she's just learned over time that no matter if people call you your friends or your enemies, they can both do really crappy things to you or really good things. So she just can't. She's not trusting anyone at face value anymore. So she sees Jon walk in with Dany, and she's like, he could just be doing it out of love, and is this really going to serve the Stark family? I think that's her foremost care and thought is for the Stark family, since there's only a few of them left, and then 2 probably for the North and fighting for the living. But she's definitely family first, and so she wants to protect that. And I mean, maybe it's going to be a more of a rift when she learns that Jon is not actually part of her family. Maybe that'll kind of I don't know if that'll help
divide her and him.
Yeah, even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I really like how they're presenting or portraying Sansa in the season as I think she's coming into her own as like a Stark. Like she's kind of
Lady of
melancholy,
Winterfell.
like brooding around, like how Starks do, and she's always, she's not very trusting. She's
brooding.
She puts her family first.
Good word.
The brooding Starks.
Jon Snow broods. He's brooding af.
She's always, yeah. So I don't know. I think I like her more from what I've seen in that one episode, because I don't know. I felt like she was doing some dumb things early, or I guess it was 2 seasons ago, about how she handled the whole Vale Army situation and how she wasn't very clear with Jon and about plans that she had to come and help him. But I like where they're going with Sansa's character in this season and how she's really identified as a Stark and how they're supposed to be and act and behave.
And as a commander, a Stark and a leader commander. I don't know, call her commander. Amy.
I will say, after like going back and watching old episodes, just seeing and like you kind of remember, but like actually really seeing the evolution of her character from those first few seasons to now, it's awesome. It is so awesome. And like I said, you kind of remember, but go back and watch, and your mind will be blown even more because it's pretty dope.
She's been through the worst crap of a lot of characters, and how she's overcome all of that, still survived. She's had influence from like some of the smartest people too, like Littlefinger, and some of the best like schemers, like Littlefinger and Cersei, and she married Tyrion. And is that marriage still on? Because now they're back together.
She's learned from some of like the smartest, most cunning and evil people in Westeros over time. From Littlefinger to Cersei. I feel like Cersei is really who she's trying to model herself after, just in a way that like pertains to her family in a more like
honorable way,
honorable way. I mean, evil. We are talking the Starks after all. They're going to be honorable. So yeah, but I think she's heavily Cersei influenced. I mean, even Ramsay was cunning as crap and would just outsmart his enemies and was also just brutally evil, and we saw some of that return to Sansa when she let Ramsay get eaten by a dog, by his own dog. So I think we really started seeing Sansa come into her own and be like, man, I can play this game as well, and I have a voice and I have power. I may not be able to pick up a sword, but just because I'm a lady and an honorable lady, a lady of Winterfell, doesn't mean I can't like influence this world for good or
she's good.
bad.
I think she's a good judge of character, like knowing people, because going back to that season 6 battle, she was telling Jon, like, I know Ramsay. He's not going to give in to your demands or whatever. And then later in this episode, she was talking to Jon about, did you bend the knee to her because you wanted to save the North or because you love her? And she's like, got that skepticism. So I think she's a really good judge.
And with Tyrion, when Tyrion was like, Cersei's sending her army up here, and Sansa's like, are you kidding me? You're trusting Cersei? Like, I thought you were so smart.
I got something to say about that scene, too.
Say it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say it. So I think, I did a rewatch, and I think there's something going on at the end of this scene, and it's very subtle, I think. But like you said, Sansa said, so Cersei's sending the army to come help, right? And Tyrion was like, yes, and she was like, do you trust her? And he was like, yes. And then she was like, I thought you were the cleverest man alive, which she's right to say that, because Tyrion's been kind of dumb since like season 5. All he was
super dumb in season 7, which was the worst.
Giving bad advice and making eunuch jokes to Varys. It's like all he's been doing. Yeah. But I think if you look at his reaction after he says that, like it's almost like he's hiding something, and then right after that he looks over and Bran is looking right back at him. Of course. And to me, I think you can take that as like Bran is like, I know what you're up to. I think he might be up to something.
Well, I thought that scene...
Tyrion can't be completely honest.
I only watched it once, but I remember seeing that, and I thought Tyrion was just hiding the fact that he is trusting Cersei in this case because he knows that Cersei's pregnant. Like, she is actually trying to fight for what she said she's fighting for, the living. And so I thought that's maybe the information that Tyrion was hiding, just being like, yeah, he actually does trust Cersei because he knows something about her that no one else knows. That changes how she is acting in this war. But I guess we're going to see. No one really knows if she's sending her army. I guess she said she wasn't, though.
She said
didn't
what?
she say she was? I mean, yeah, she blatantly told Jaime at the end of season 7 that she was not sending her army. Yeah. But Tyrion, for some reason, either thinks she is, and that might. I'm just saying that might be the information that he's withholding. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Either she thinks, totally wrong. But I don't know. That I think there might be something going on. Either he's not being totally honest to Sansa about what he believes Cersei is doing. And then whenever him and Bran exchange a glance, I don't know. I think I could almost take that like, I know you're lying.
Well, Bran is glancing at everybody,
Bran's
so I mean, it's hard to tell who's lying and who's in the truth.
It's hard to tell. He has
Do you
a
have anything
blank
to
face. I don't
add
get
some more on
his
Sansa?
emotions.
Add about Sansa, Amy?
Honestly, with Sansa, the only other thing, I mean, everything we've said, I definitely wanted to hit on and agree with. But the only other thing I wanted to say about Sansa is basically, she's the one I am most excited to see her reaction to learning about Jon's new parents.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting.
I wanted to pose the question who were you most excited to see or most interested to see the reaction to finding out this news? Sansa was mine. Just because, kind of like we talked about, how is this going to affect her and Jon's relationship? How is it going to affect the way she views Jon and how it goes from here?
She could totally start viewing him as a complete outsider now, as she was viewing Dany. But I don't know. She holds family. Yep. She grew up with Jon, or for at least 13 years.
It'll be an interesting conflict she has to fight through.
Cousins,
you know.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious. Do y'all think Jon is going to end up telling anybody the truth? Because I think he's going to try to keep it from Dany. Personally, I mean, he could outright tell her, but I think he knows that if he tells Dany this, it could cause even a bigger rift when he's all about who cares about titles or whatever right now. We have to fight the Night King beyond the wall. So I think he might try to keep that a secret.
Yeah, this is kind of leading into a different conversation, but I was thinking that he would, based on how much he talks about and portrays the fact that he doesn't care about titles, it is purely just the living side or the dead side. It's kind of hard to believe that he would really let this information affect him that much to where it would change something politically within the living side or on the living side, especially in Winterfell with the power dynamics. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he thinks it would cause a power dynamic or whatever that he doesn't even want rift, if he does tell Dany. And then the rift, whenever he's just trying to keep everybody as hard as it is right now to keep everybody on the living united on one side. Because the only thing Dany is he thinks it would be bad overall to let that truth let out as of right now. I think. When the White Walkers.
I mean, the only thing that Dany's gonna care.
That's just my opinion. I think he'll want to try to keep it a secret.
Yeah, the only thing Dany's gonna care about with that information is that she has another threat to the throne. She's not gonna care. In my opinion, she's not gonna care.
See, and I think Sam was right and onto something. Whenever after he told Jon the truth, he said, "Do you think she would do the same to give up her power and her rights
bend the knee
what's best for everybody?" And then he didn't say anything, so maybe he knows she might be kind of power hungry.
Well, where do you think?
I would love to see some Dany getting to be a mad queen, kind of she gets a little power thirsty.
I mean, Dany's character progression has definitely, just halted almost the last few seasons to where she's kind of been just like a mad power-driven ruler and conqueror.
Those are some strong words.
She wants the throne.
And man, that's all she cares about is people bending the knee to her and conquering lands until she met Jon Snow. And now she's kind of in love, but I still don't know where she stands on the end of it. Is she just fighting the living to eventually is her ultimate goal to still take King's Landing? Because I feel like everyone knows where Jon Snow stands. He just wants to survive. But I just don't know where Johnny's, Dany's true Johnny's. That's their celeb name. Speaking of celeb couples, the one thing I question about Sansa Stark is the Jonas brothers. Really?
Oh, come on. They grew up.
What? They grew up.
What? I haven't heard this. What do you mean? Is she dating?
She's engaged to a Jonas brother, bro.
Nice catch.
Oh man, there's going to be a new king of the north.
Someone
if
take
they get married.
the mic from me. I'm just talking about everything. I feel like I didn't even finish my point on whatever I was talking about.
You're just talking about how hungry.
Well, finish it.
I don't know. Oh. Yeah, I just don't know where Dany's true allegiance lies at the end of the day, what her true goal is. Whether if she just wants to protect the land or if she still wants the throne end of the day, I don't know, because that'll affect it.
How do we think? Oh shit. How do we think Cersei is going to take this news? Because she's going to somehow scheme and use it to her advantage. That's something I'm looking forward to too. Seeing how she takes this news.
But she does her own family. She'll be like, I don't, nothing wrong with him doing it.
Well, not that. Just Jon being a Targaryen and a better.
I mean, we saw in the early seasons how the Lannisters took advantage of the Baratheon brothers fighting, and they were squabbling, and Robb Stark and dealing with the Ironborn. Like there was a lot of internal turmoil, and the Lannisters were thriving off that because no one was really uniting and coming together against them. So, like you said, she might try to take advantage if the knowledge becomes public, and just kind of sit back and let them squabble amongst themselves, so she doesn't have to, she can keep the power that she has, because she is obviously the most power hungry person, and she wants all the power.
Yeah. Can we talk about the?
But I don't know. I've never thought about that.
Can we talk about the Jon and Arya reunion?
They're both killers.
Yes.
You're a killer.
So,
dude, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that it seems like Arya is coming back to. She was behaving
becoming
so
a monster.
weirdly.
she was behaving so badly.
In the last season,
Arya, shame on you.
Go to timeout.
Shame.
Yeah, that was so confusing.
Unacceptable.
Her whole arc at her whole arc at the end of becoming no one has not made much sense to me since that all ended. So it's nice for her to come back, and she's starting to behave like Arya again, except she's now like a skilled assassin killer, and that's cool with me. I mean, how she was talking to Sansa, like, I could wear your face if I want to. All I would do
don't
is
even bring up
cut
that
it off.
stupid
It's like, is she
storyline from
threatening?
season 7. That was the worst. I don't want to forget about that. Peter Baelish died. That's all that happens from that whole waste of a story.
So I guess him dying really brought the sisters together somehow, some way.
I'm just interested to see.
But, I liked the reunion.
Yeah. No,
Sorry,
I was gonna say
ahead.
I'm interested to see because of how close Jon and Arya were growing up. I feel like they made that very clear and apparent in the early seasons. So I'm just gonna be interested to see. And now too, her and Sansa are kind of feel like a power sisterhood right now. So since there is kind of some tension between Jon and Sansa over the whole Dany thing, like, where's Arya gonna fall into all that? Because I feel like Jon even said some line. Arya said some line to Jon about how Sansa is like one of the smartest people in Winterfell right now, or something like that. And
I don't know.
I feel like it kind of caught Jon off guard, but it kind of just shows like she's really like fighting again for the family and like joining together with Sansa. And so if there's some kind of tension between Sansa and Jon, how's Arya gonna play into that?
Yeah. Didn't she question Jon a little bit when they're in their reunion, when they were hugging?
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "I'm here for family" or something. She's like, "Are you?" Or
She said, "Don't you ever
Yeah.
forget that."
She was just like, "Don't you ever forget that." So it sounds like she would side with the Starks. I don't know.
But like the little details, I liked how they were like showing each other their swords, because that was a thing whenever Jon departed. He like made needle for her, and that was a big deal.
That was cute.
So that was again a little bit of a callback, I guess, of how they bonded and why they were such close siblings.
Now she's getting Needle 2.0.
Man, and can I?
Get
made
in that
for her.
Gendry.
2.0. AKA Gendry.
Was that a spear, or was that like an arrow?
Gendry is her Needle 2.0.
I'm not quite sure what she was actually even asking him to make. Something with dragon glass?
It looked like something from Assassin's Creed that would just like shoot out of like some holster. I don't know, some spear.
I don't know. That'd be sweet. Well, can I say one more thing about that reunion? And it might be nitpicky, but it's kind of a complaint I have.
Okay, no.
No complaints on the show.
With at least some of the dialogue.
Only.
We can be critical. No, we can trash
Justin,
it.
let's hear it.
It can be. I mean, if you really analyze it, you can kind of pick it apart. And I don't want that. My recording stopped, and now it's back on. I don't know why. All right, I'm continuing. Whenever she said, "I heard you got stabbed in the heart and died," and he was like, "I did," and then it's like, I don't know. They just kind of gloss over that, and that's like something that I think that should be a little bit more discussed, but. I don't know, in an event like that, that doesn't just happen. Like, tell me more, Jon. How in the world did you get stabbed in the heart and die, and now you're still here? And then I don't know. They're just not going to bring that up again. And I wish that there was more banter.
I've been thinking about that since the episode, and I've been thinking about that, and I wanted to hear it between two, like Sam and Jon haven't seen each other since that happened. Like, I don't know. I feel like my guess is. They have 6 episodes left. They've got to really pick and choose what they put into these episodes, and just having people like learn and ask about that isn't really.
I would rather her not bring it up at all than just to like throw a little line out there about it, and then there's like no discussion. That I don't know. That's just my personal preference.
Well, I thought it was almost just like a clever little callback Easter egg to throw in the dialogue, because I mean, there's like Sansa and Tyrion meet up for the first time in however many seasons, and they just have a few lines. They're like, "Oh my god, they have so much to talk." I really, literally think it's what Amy probably said. You can't start nitpicking all the conversations away because they're on a time crunch. They got to show all this action.
There's so much. so many characters and the world is too big. You can't like work out every little single thing in detail that happened. But I don't know. It's like, to me, Game of Thrones, like my favorite part and why it's one of my favorite shows is like the dialogue that some of these characters have throughout the series. Like those are my favorite scenes.
I do feel like there's not going to be much of that.
You should have stopped watching at season 6, maybe.
And now it's just all about action and just one-liners and a lot of...
Welcome to TV.
All right, well, that's our bitching about Game of Thrones episode. They rushed the timeline so much
that
now we don't get
really
any good dialogue.
Speaking of action, though, how insanely action-packed was that Theon rescue of Yara?
Oh, my God.
I mean, I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen.
Yeah.
That happened very fast. They built up. Yeah, I mean, it's just the rushing. It happens so fast. They built up his Yara rescue, and then he does it in like 5 seconds. But, I mean, it was needed and necessary.
Yes,
yeah, it was.
All right, one more thing I feel like we at least need to touch on is Cersei and Euron. Huh?
Yeah,
what
we
about
can
it?
talk about that.
Anything
what about
specific?
What's her plan? She
the
don't
Golden
just sleep with
Company's
people
here.
for no reason.
I mean, Euron is just...
And same with Euron, probably, honestly.
I mean, I felt like it was a power move. No, I don't know. She knows
I don't know.
Euron's extremely
I feel like
arrogant.
I feel like she's just using him. Or just appeasing him so he does, because she knows she needs him.
Or maybe she's just trying to move past from Jaime. Maybe this is just a straight, human emotion moment. She's like, damn, she just let Jaime walk away, even though she she technically told the mountain to like kill him. I don't know if the mountain was told not to actually follow through on that. But anyways, she let Jaime walk away from her, possibly with the knowledge that she would never see him again. So she's got to, keep on living her life. And if she has something in the oven baking currently, well, I think she would like.
Does she though?
I don't know.
She was drinking, so I've heard a lot of people say like maybe she lost the baby or she wasn't pregnant in the first place.
I mean, what age are we in? I bet they still drank when they were pregnant back then. I would assume they did not have medical research on that yet. What?
So they can build a zombie mountain, but they don't know that drinking while pregnant is bad. I don't know. You're probably right though. I mean, she's an alcoholic. She'll drink regardless. That's probably why Joffrey was
some harsh judgments against Cersei Lannister, alcoholic.
She is an alcoholic.
Ruler of the Seven Kingdoms.
There's more scenes of her drinking than not drinking.
That's actually probably true.
Everyone in that show is an alcoholic.
Someone fact check that, please.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, and then Euron said she's going to put the prince in her belly. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of Euron and Cersei.
If she is
pregnant, I don't
pregnant,
think anything's going to happen.
And it's not Euron's, do you think she's going to convince him that it is?
I mean, yeah, I think that's possible, and because she's already pregnant with something, with Jaime's fourth baby.
Maybe, yeah.
But that would go against the prophecy, or whatever.
What if Pycelle knocked her up?
Or Qyburn.
Or the mountain, like she got really crazy, wanted to start creating like an army of zombie beasts.
Well, let's talk about this, because Caleb, this is one of the first things you mentioned after we all watched it. The Bronn scene where Qyburn gives the crossbow to him. And says, Cersei wants to kill her brothers. Go do it, and you'll be paid. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know, man. I've been thinking about that scene a lot too, and I think out of all the scenes, almost in episode 1, that might carry the most weight into impacting what's going to happen this season. Like there was a few reunions here and there, but that subtle little 3-minute scene of sending Bronn to possibly murder Tyrion and Jaime. I think honestly, Cersei would probably take just one of them dead, and I mean. I was thinking, Bronn has always said his sword is for sale to the highest bidder, and Tyrion's always told him, whoever's paying you, I will pay double. But, I don't know. I'm interested. I hope this turns into a good storyline, and it's not just something blown off by Game of Thrones, trying to bite off more than they could chew within only 5 episodes left. But this would have been a really good... Yeah, there's a lot of meat here, I think, for this to develop, because there's a lot of relationship between Bronn and Jaime, and between Bronn and Tyrion, and then between Tyrion and Jaime. This is almost like a love triangle of 3 bros. Yeah, it's like a threesome of interchanging. What am I trying? Love dynamics and relationships. So yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Bronn should have been dead by now. I thought it would have been a great way for him. I think it would have been a great way for him to die if he had saved Jaime during that fight and gotten roasted to death, because he would have gone from the sellsword that only cared about making money and whoring, if you will, as Game of Thrones would put it, to, he got anointed to be a knight, and then he goes out by doing a very knightly, honorable thing by sacrificing his life.
It would be an awesome character arc.
That would have been a great way. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
But now he's going back. He's going back to where he was originally in the first episode of, whoever pays me the most money, I'll go kill him, even if it's someone that I had a relationship with or cared about.
Well, Game of Thrones has always been about if you're like an honorable character, or if you've come this far, it's like it's still going to test that character. So I think this is Bronn's first test. He has come that full character arc where now he feels more of like a knight, and he actually has friends and almost like family and brothers. And now Cersei's like testing, like, oh, you've always been about money, but like how much is this going to test his allegiances here to his brethren? Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. True.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I would still be very surprised if Jaime or Tyrion end up dying because Bronn kills them. But I don't know. Maybe he'll try to kill him, and maybe it goes wrong or something. I don't know. But it would surprise me if they came to their end because Bronn shoots him with a crossbow.
I don't think that conversation was just a waste. I definitely think something's gonna come of it. Whether he kills him or not, something's going to happen.
Yeah, I thought with only 6 episodes left, them even like throwing in a scene that no one even thought would, be a part of the show. They could have used all their time on just like the White Walkers and the like something's got to come of this, I think. And it's going to be pretty big whether either of the 3 die. I feel like Bronn would be the least impactful death. So I kind of feel like Tyrion or Jaime might suffer some consequences from this little fiasco.
Maybe so. We'll see. All right, what'd you guys think about the Jon and Dany dragon date and then waterfall lovemaking?
Hot. More lovemaking, please. I didn't see any nudity.
We need to.
I miss Jon.
They're all about to die. They're all about to get overrun by the undead. So they need to make as much love as possible before they all go out. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's weird that they have time for a nice little dragon ride and flaunt in the snow. when they're greeting their family they haven't seen in like a decade, and Bran's like, we don't have time for this.
We don't have time. Exactly.
But they can go, fly around on the dragons for however long.
They gotta have a 6-minute dragon riding scene.
Yeah.
Because that's another kind of sort of complaint where I think at times in the episode there was a lack of that sense of urgency. I need more of a urgent tone of, guys, we got to get ready for this battle, this incoming battle. And then Jon and Dany are talking about like, oh, we could live at this waterfall for 1,000 years. What about all the undead that are coming? How about them? They're all going to die.
I'm questioning Dany's. I don't know who Dany is for first. I feel like she just cares about her love. She doesn't really care about the army of the dead, even though they stole one of her children. Doesn't care about the throne anymore.
It was a little drawn out. I mean, I feel like the whole point of that whole scene was just to show that the dragons will let Jon ride him. Further, just like stamping in that he is a Targaryen. But, I mean, yes, it was a little drawn out just to make that simple point. But I think it's just these are 2 characters that we love. We've seen since scene 1. People are attached to these 2 characters. And their love story, if it is a love story, whatever, is just now beginning.
Kind of forced.
It's just now beginning, but it's also just it's about to end, whether that means they die or, the show's about to end. So it's about to end.
Yeah.
So I think they know that people want to see them together as much as they can in this short amount of time that they have.
They do not have as much chemistry on screen as Rose and Kit did. I will say that. You can. I feel like there's a disconnect.
Well, because they had real life chemistry. I mean, they were
true.
Really.
They're married.
It led to a marriage, but I feel like it's a little obvious in the relationship between Jon and Dany. I'm like, you can just tell, like, Kit's not into Amelia Clark as much as he was Rose.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Subtle. It does make sense.
I don't think it's actors. Maybe it's the characters. I mean, I think Jon has way better chemistry with like Arya on screen. He has better chemistry with Sam. He has better chemistry with a lot of people, more so than Dany, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe the actors don't mesh as well in themselves.
Yeah.
Also about the dragons,
we're having some technical difficulties right now. Justin has cut out. Oh, okay. He has cut.
Justin is blackout.
No.
He
wait. Here, see me.
Back in.
The Wi-Fi is questionable.
Back.
I thought the Night King got you for a second, bro, and you were like a screaming Umber on the wall. Could. Let's do our best Ned Umber impression of when he's getting burned.
That was disturbing. I already know I can't beat those,
That might be my best Game of Thrones impression I have. Okay, anyone else? What What about that scene? What about the White Walkers? What are we going to see for episode 2? Obviously, now we know that Tormund and Beric Dondarrion are trapped in between the army of the Whites and Winterfell. So are they going to try to make it around to Winterfell before the battle? Are they going to get just slaughtered in the forest?
I didn't think I realized that. Oh, I guess because, the White Walkers went past the last hearth, and so they're at the last hearth now.
And from what I've seen in brief readings from the episode is that the sign of Ned Umber on the wall was a message to Tormund in that group that they are now trapped in between them and their home. But I don't know. I thought that was reading a little too much into the message of Ned Umber.
I didn't catch that. It might be. But yeah, dead Ned Umber, second dead Ned of the series. The Umbers are gone. Dude, they could have given Ned Umber a little bit more. Like, did he go back by himself to get his whole army?
I don't know. Why would they send the kid back? Why didn't one of his knights step up and be like, I'll send 2 dragons. They can ferry everyone back in a matter of hours. Things the show does. No, we just need to kill a kid right now.
That makes a point. Makes a statement. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Shock value.
I don't know what Jon or the Night's Watch is going to do, or whatever's left of him in Beric.
Or the Brotherhood without banners. That's all that's left of them too, eh?
Yeah, eh. What'd you guys think about the Jon? First the reveal to Sam. And first of all, and someone brought this up that I read about, how in the world has Sam not heard about his Tarly family burning to death? Like, that's huge news. Like, his dad was a major lord and general for the Lannister army, and he traveled across the entire world, and the news had never reached him. And he's a maester.
They should have just sent Gendry to run down and tell him the news. Could have been there in 5 minutes.
Super fast.
He could have sprinted.
I mean, I'm sure once again, that's just one of those things.
I thought that was a fantastic scene.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fantastic scene of her delivering the news and then his reaction to it. Great. That actor, I thought nailed it. He's a great actor. But I really enjoyed that. I was really captured in that moment of him taking in the news, because he was treated like crap from his dad, but he's such a pure heart that he still cares, and it really upsets him and makes him sad.
He's an honorable dude, so family means a lot to him, even if he was kind of shunned. He was forced out basically to join the Night's Watch, but he still had feelings for his brother. Was always nice to him, and they had a good relationship. So
that's true.
So I feel like that was the big one. He was sad about his dad, and then learning his brother was also melted by dragon fire. Whew. It's a hot way to go out.
Yeah.
Feeling hot.
You guys almost dipped out again.
Feeling hot.
All right. So then straight from there, I think we get the scene of the reveal to Jon about his true parentage. And did you guys like how it was in the crypts where Ned Stark was, and then the last words to Ned?
We'll talk about your mother when I see you.
Next time we see each other, we'll talk about your mother.
Yeah.
And that's not really what happened, but it's pretty close.
So as close as you
His
can
bones
get.
were there,
Yeah.
so close enough.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool full circle.
I mean,
moment.
I think because we're talking about the biggest reveal of the whole series, probably, of Jon learning his true parentage, and I mean, they could have messed up that execution, but I thought it went pretty well. I thought that was a well done scene.
Yeah, I guess I'm still just torn on they've been hammering home how much Jon doesn't care about these titles and where he falls in the political chain of power. Is this going to affect him? I don't know. Yeah, it's the biggest reveal the fans have been waiting for.
It was shocking.
Yeah, it was shocking.
It was shocking for him to take that in, but is he actually going to use that information to further his own
Maybe he's never
agenda?
been...
I don't think so.
Maybe he's never been, a big fan of titles or really taking them that seriously, just because he didn't know what his was, technically. He never actually really knew who he was or what his title was, what his name even was.
Yeah, his title was always Bastard.
So maybe
illegitimate
now that he
child.
has this piece of information, I think there is going to be some internal conflict that he has to work through. I think he's going to realize, oh, maybe now that I actually know who I am and know my name and know my lineage, I do kind of care. But I've spent my whole life not caring, so I think he is going to kind of weigh these options in his mind.
But do any of us actually know who we are?
My name is everything.
We're no one. We are no one. But... Oh, also, someone said this, and I thought it was funny, how whenever Sam told him the news, he started out with, "Your mother is Lyanna Stark." So there's a couple seconds in there where Jon thought that his dad was Ned Stark and his mom was Lyanna. That could have gone very poorly. And then he said, no, and your father's Rhaegar.
Damn, Sam, why'd you gotta do that?
Yes, come on, Sam. You know better than that.
Just messing with this.
And yeah, I guess the reunions between the Hound and Arya was pretty good.
Do you think Arya will end up killing
short.
the Hound? I mean, she's on his hit list still, one of the only remaining members.
He's on her hit list.
He's on her hit list, my bad.
I doubt it, unless he becomes undead. If he dies and comes back to life, and then she kills him.
I mean, we're for sure going to get the Clegane Bowl. I mean, I feel like that's all but written in stone. It's a foregone conclusion, I think. The writers totally want to play to the fans on that one, and it makes sense now. It would be an awesome battle and reunion for them.
Yeah.
I guess they've already kind of had a reunion in the Dragon Pits end of season 7, but that battle would just be amazing. I would love it.
Yeah, that's definitely that'll be interesting. How do they come together? Eventually, Cersei, I guess, is going to go north, or they're going to go south. Well, Winterfell's definitely going to fall, I think. So I think everyone's going to start retreating, either south or maybe to the Iron Islands where Yara is.
Is that what you think? Here's my options in the bigger picture of what episode 1 meant to the season. Is 1, apparently everyone's projecting the Battle of Winterfell to be episode 3. I always thought kind of the final conflict that would last throughout the whole season would be the White Walkers, since they've kind of been the building conflict over the first 7 seasons. But now I'm thinking with the Battle of Winterfell, and how Cersei's kind of actually amassing a force and power herself now in the south, that the White Walkers could just be like the conflict could be wiped out possibly by the first half of the season, and then it just turns into all the politics again of Dany and Jon's power struggle with the Starks, and then also now trying to fight Cersei and who really wants the throne. Or the White Walkers could easily just take Winterfell, everyone retreats south, and then it does kind of become a White Walker versus the rest of the armies by the end of the season.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool that we don't know. That
either
either one
cool.
of those sounds intriguing and interesting and awesome to watch, and I think that's the makings of a good show. You know, you don't know how it's going to end, but both ways there's a lot. Yeah, you are very intrigued by.
Yeah, a lot of different ways they could go with it. And we don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of speculation. That would be surprising. I mean, because they've built up the White Walkers as the ultimate villain. So if that's not the final conflict to overcome, I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't like that. I would think I would just be surprised. But that would be cool. That'd be like, oh, they're done, but there's still, the power struggle.
I mean,
with King's Landing and all that.
I'm also curious to learn. I mean, the writers themselves said that the Night King has other motives than just wanting everyone dead. Right? Didn't they say that at some point inside the episode?
I think so. And I would hope so, because even George R. R. Martin, the author, said he hates where stories have villains that are evil just for the sake of being evil and with no motives. So there's got to be a motive behind what the Night King is doing. Yeah. And I mean, we could go on forever about these crazy theories about Bran and time travel and how a lot of people think he's going to end up undoing everything or something, and I think he still has a huge role to play, or if he's the original Night King.
Otherwise he's the most confusing character ever.
Yeah, that'd be too much to wrap my head around.
It'll be the lamest character
so
since Asha. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, Asha. Yeah. But so the last scene, we get Jaime finally arriving, and then he has to stare off with Bran. I think that was a great way to end the episode, and that kind of leads me into what I want to say next, and that the next episode we saw glimpses of Jaime kind of, I guess, put on trial. Dany was talking to him like, my brother used to tell stories of what we'd do to the man that killed my father. I think this might be a popular theory, but I'm pretty sure Bran is going to intervene and save him and go back to where Jaime killed Aerys, and he's going to say, actually, Jaime did everybody a favor, and he saved the entire city by killing the king. Oh. And I think he's going to get off on that.
Do you think? Yeah. Do you think the Night King is the Mad King? I have no idea. Yeah, that could possibly happen, but
interesting. But does Bran?
I don't think
want to do that.
I think Bran's going to be okay. Yeah, I feel like Bran's going to be like,
who knows what?
That's okay. You're just playing your part. It's all part of fate. That was meant to happen, and because I was meant to become the Three-Eyed Raven, and I wouldn't have been able to without becoming crippled. And you did that.
I just hope that
So I don't know. I think he's going to be
Bran
cool
matures like
with it.
700 years.
I don't know.
I'm surprised that Bran. I
Bran's
mean, I
hard to
haven't
read.
seen episode 2 yet, but if this trial goes on for like longer than 8 minutes, Bran better interject and be like, "We don't have time for this." Like literally, it's one dude. Either kill him and start
For the second episode in a row.
I mean, they really do. They have
You know
time
what they
to
should
put
do for
one guy on trial while Army of the Dead is about to attack him? No, either kill Jamie or just like put him out and kick him out of Winterfell.
You know what Jamie needs to do? His sentencing should be to be Bran's wheelchair pusher. Someone's got to have that role. So he needs to be the guy that mobilizes Bran.
Who's been
since he
wiping
immobilized him.
Bran's butt this whole time since Hodor's been gone and pushing him around? You know, is Bran just sitting in a pile of his own shit and out in the courtyard staring at everyone? Is that why he's mad at everyone?
I do think I don't think anyone pushes him around. I think he just sits in the
Somebody
courtyard. I haven't
change
seen
me.
him anywhere else, I feel like.
He's like looking
Caleb,
at
what did you say about Bran's poop? You said something we were talking about it after the episode. You're like, I think he might be time traveling that poop into another time period, and that's how he's been.
Oh yeah,
getting rid of it.
He's been warping his shit out of his pants when he has to go into like maybe the future, probably in King's Landing.
Yeah. That made me laugh. I think that's the most plausible thing that's happening.
I don't know. Either that or like he's like staring at everyone because they probably all promised that they would wipe his butt and now they're not coming through. They're just ignoring him. He's probably like, we don't have time for this.
Nobody
My
likes
pants
him.
have been
It's like
dirty for at least 36 hours. I'm starting to get rash. There's mold growing.
I'm
I don't
not.
know. Does mold grow on poop?
Yeah.
Never sat in it that long. I don't know.
This is the real hard-hitting
This is what you want to
analysis
know
from this episode.
about Game of Thrones.
Yes.
We're bringing it here on Titans Tube right now.
Okay, so to kind of try to wrapping this up, we got
Preparation for the Battle of Winterfell.
Well, we'll wrap it up then. Okay, well, Justin was just asking what we think is going to happen in episode 2. Jamie being on trial, will the White Walkers attack? And you know what? I don't know.
I think we're gonna get some more. I think we'll get a lot of King's Landing info. I don't think we're gonna be so much as Winterfell as we were in the first episode. That's as intricate as my prediction gets.
I think we'll spend a lot of time at Winterfell. I don't think we'll actually see much of the South now that Jamie does have the Golden Company and she's kind of just like playing a waiting game now to see what happens. Cersei, sorry, to see what happens in the North. So I think there's a lot more political intrigue and power intrigue happening in Winterfell. So I think, and then with the White Walkers coming, I hope we get a lot of the remaining Night's Watch and Brotherhood Without Banners too. But who knows? Episode 2, guys. Thank you for listening. Please let us know what you think. And I know we got this out really late because the episode, by the time this is up, the show's probably tonight, but we'll try to get out episode 2's recap earlier next week. If you like listening, it can only go up, and then maybe we can continue this in the future. But for now, peace out, and to the King of the North.
To the King of the North.